Salam dostlar, tədbirimize hoş gelmişsiniz.
Today we gather to celebrate a day that holds profound significance for our culture around the world, International Mother Language Day. I would like to take an opportunity to thank everyone who's here, who's taken the time from their weekend to be with us to celebrate this day.
Firstly, we would like to invite to the stage the chair of ATAY, ATAY, who will give a chat about this and ATAY's progress in the region. ATAY?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Welcome to the Azerbaijani cultural event on the Azerbaijani Cultural Day on the occasion of International Mother Tongue Day event, which organized by ATAY. My name is Isa. And I live in the UK since 2007. I am the chairman of Azer-Turk Society of Yorkshire, ATAY. I was born in Tabriz, the capital city of South Azerbaijan, which is in the northwest of Iran. As you know, Iran is a multicultural, multinational, and multilingual country. There are Turks, Persians, Arabs, Kurds, Baluchs, and some other nations living in the Iran. I could say 70% of Iranian nation are non-Persian nation. All those 70%, including 40% Turks, are not allowed to have education in their mother language. There are members of Ahwazi Arabic people over here, Kurdish, and also Turkmen and Qashqai people over here, all welcome. And I could say ATAY established in April 2008. Since 2008, we have been organizing different activities, including football, hiking, camping, environment campaigns, human rights, cultural days, mother tongue days, IT, dance, language, life in the UK, and also poetry classes. In 2009, we started an environment campaign, Save the Uru Lake, which is the second largest saltwater lake on earth. Iranian regime is trying to dry the lake, and there are two reasons for this. Firstly, to move 15 million population people from those areas which we are called assimilation, and secondly, the regime trying to get the chemical like lithium and other chemicals to their trade with China and Russia. For human rights, I can say some of the important campaign which we did for Sakina Mohammadi-Ashtiani. She was going to be excluded by stoning in Iran. She got this judgment because she did not understand Persian, and she agreed with the result. But with our campaign and other organizations' help, especially Amnesty International help, she was freed as she was innocent. We had a large protest in Leeds to ask freedom for Sakina Mohammadi-Ashtiani and other activists who were in prison because they wanted education in mother tongue. Also, with Amnesty Leeds' help and support, we did signature campaign for Said Matinpur, who was a teacher and arrested because he wanted to have education in mother tongue. Both of these cases were linked to education in mother tongue. It both were preaching human rights and racism. In May 2006, there was one of the biggest protests against Mullah's regime and racism in Tabriz and other Azerbaijani cities in Iran. Tens of people were killed, hundreds of people were injured, and also thousands of people were arrested and tortured. After that protest, we prepared a brief report about Azerbaijani living in Iran and sent to different MPs and politicians. There were several books which were in Persian and brought from Iran and had insulting information about Turks, discriminatory language against Turks. By the help of late Professor Tabrizi, we made a complaint and succeeded in eliminating those books from UK's different libraries. Also, the most well-known carpet, the Sheikh Safi carpet in British Victoria Albert Museum in London, was introducing with wrong name as a Persian carpet. After hard work, we succeeded in bringing it to its real name, and now it is introducing as a Sheikh Safi carpet from Ardabil, Azerbaijan, northwest of Iran. As an ATAY, we had a chance to attend different football tournaments, and we win more than 11 cups with our tractor in the UK football team. And by this, we could introduce ourselves and our motherland to different communities. I have to say that our nation has been divided into two parts by Turkmenchai Treaty in 1828 after the war between Qajar Empire of Russia and Qajar Empire of Turks, and Tsar Empire of Russia. After that treaty, North Azerbaijan became independent when Tsar Empire failed. But after the Qajar Empire failed, over years, South Azerbaijan has been under assimilation of Pahlavis and Mullahs regimes in Iran. Not only the cultural Turkish names of our cities, mountains, villages, and even rivers have been assimilated and changed into Persian names. But also, we are forbidden to name our children by our national names in our language. Nearly 35 millions of Azerbaijani Turks living in Iran, which is 40% of Iranian population, do not have a right to have education in their mother language. Through the Article 15 and 19 of Constitution of Islamic Republic of Iran shows that everyone has the right to have an education in their mother tongue. The regime has been forbidding this right more than 45 years. South Azerbaijanis has the national state in Sayyid Jafar Pishavari's times in 1945. But as the Pahlavis regime came, they brought the government to an end with a bloody invasion. These processes have been taking place during Pahlavis and Mullahs regimes in Iran. That's why our people says, neither Shah nor Sheikh. We want to stop racism in Iran. We want to stop discriminations in Iran. We want to stop apartheid and assimilation process in Iran. We want democracy, freedom, human rights, and self-determination in Iran. Now, I'm going to finish my speech with a poem translated into English by well-known Azerbaijani poet Karaçoğlu Sahan. I don't say I belong to a superior race. I don't say my people are better than others. I am, in my ideology, in my approach, all people are friends and comrades. But I have this to say, I too am a human being. I too have a language, a people, a place I call home. I have not sprung from the ground like a mushroom. I am a person with rights rooted in my people. Finally, I am going to invite Amnesty International Leeds member to stage and introduce a list of recent Azerbaijani prisoners in Iran to her. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I am a member of Amnesty International, nationally and locally. We need more members, so please come. It's a great honour to be here. I didn't know really where Azerbaijan was, but I looked it up. And yes, it borders several countries, of which there are several problems, which Lisa has listed several of them. Amnesty produced a report in 2022, and like so many other countries, human rights are not in a very good state, but especially for women, which is what this list is, isn't it, Lisa? You know, they're prevented from having various jobs. I've lost my notes. Yes, they're prevented from working in 204 professions. because of the country's labour code, and they also have limited access to education, employment, healthcare and housing. So, on top of all the other problems of human rights, this is, as a woman, very important to me. So, thank you very much for inviting me.
Dil her bir milletin maddi ve manevi irsini koruyan ve inkişaf ettiren en mühim ve en güçlü vasıtadır. Yaşadığımız ülkeden aslı olmayarak ana dilimizi yaxşı bilmek ve onu korumak bir Azerbaycan Respublikası vətəndaşı kimi her birimizin borcudur.
Next, we would like to invite up Francis Bernstein, Head of Harmony Choir Leeds.
Hello, it's wonderful to have been invited to talk to you today. As well as being head of Harmony Choir Leeds, I think Isa felt that I could tell you a little story that might be inspiring. People, when their rights are denied, might find it very hard to keep going and keep fighting for their rights. So I think that's why I'm here, is to give you a little bit of inspiration. It's a personal story. I was born and spent my childhood in South Africa. It was a happy childhood, but it had a dark side because I was born in the era of apartheid, the strictest ever system of laws based on skin colour that has existed anywhere in the world, where everyone was classified at birth according to the colour of their skin, and that determined every aspect of their life, where they could live, where they could work, who they could marry, which school they could go to, which bus they could ride on, which park bench they could sit on. So I was part of that privileged white minority of South Africa who ruled South Africa, and that was I was fortunate in that way, just to have been born with the right colour skin. I was also fortunate to have parents who hated the system of apartheid and believed in the innate equality of all human beings. And they joined with others to work for change. So they initially joined the Communist Party. It was the only party that didn't have a racial segregation, so whites and blacks could join it. And then later they also worked with the young leaders who were growing up in the 1950s of the African Liberation Movement and the African National Congress. And that is where they met. I'm getting to the point of my little story. That is where they met Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and other young leaders of the African Liberation Movement. And my dad described these men as men of exceptional ability and total dedication to their ideal without regard to self. And he felt he was the luckiest person to have met them and to join with them in organising campaigns. In the 1950s and early 1960s, they had a campaign called the Defiance Campaign, where black people would go into places they were prohibited, get onto trains that were for white people only, get onto buses that were for white people only, and defy the apartheid laws. They also had a campaign to encourage people all over the country to put forward their ideas for what kind of society they wanted. And they called a lot of people together and drew up a thing called the Freedom Charter in 1956. And it was the people's expression of their ideas for freedom and equality. And my father, who was a good writer and used to write a lot of propaganda material, became one of the authors of the Freedom Charter. And it established basic principles. South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. All national groups shall have equal rights. The land will be shared among those who work it. All people shall have equal rights to use their own languages. So very basic issues of human rights, but it was illegal to be campaigning for those basic human rights, and any campaigning had to be carried on underground and at risk of imprisonment, arrest and imprisonment. So I knew my father was involved in stuff. He used to go out at night. One night he went out and he didn't come back. And the next day I found out the reason, which was that along with a group of other leaders of the movement, he had been arrested. And he was put on trial alongside Mandela and several other of the leading figures. And I think you might know the outcome of the trial for Mandela, which was, and for all the others, they were sentenced to life imprisonment. And my father, by good fortune, was acquitted, and we were able to escape to England, where I have lived happily ever since. Meanwhile, while I've grown up, Mandela and the others languished in prison, but a new generation of activists grew up to carry on the struggle for freedom. So I'll just mention that as a child I only knew of 2 languages in South Africa. That was English, which I spoke at home, Afrikaans, which was taught at school, and it was the language of the white government, the Dutch colonizers who had colonized South Africa, and we learnt it at school. And I was unaware that I lived in a country that was rich in indigenous languages. So while Mandela was in prison, the new wave of rebellion was sparked off by students in Soweto who began to protest because Afrikaans was being imposed on them in schools as the language of instruction. And they went out on the streets and protested and were shot down, but sparked off a whole new wave of resistance to the apartheid system, joined by young people, trade unionists, women, and then international solidarity and the boycott movement. And I think we know the ending to the story because it's an unbelievably inspiring story of Mandela, and it's well known across the world that after 26 years in prison on Robben Island with great hardships and deprivation, he emerged to negotiate with the white government their own end and an end to apartheid. And 30 years after I left South Africa, I went back to take part in the first free elections in which every person, regardless of skin colour, had the right to vote. And that was a joyous occasion. And it ushered in a constitution based on full equality and human rights. And a lot of it reflects those principles of the Freedom Charter of the 1950s. And it's one of the best constitutions in the world. It's hailed by many as an example for other countries, as a model for law and constitutional experts, because it establishes a society based on democratic values, social justice and fundamental human rights. I'll just mention, because it's the Mother Tongue International Day, the aspect of language, because part of the Constitution is that all people should have equal rights to their own language, and the state has to take practical and positive measures to elevate the status of the indigenous languages of the people. It gave the right of every cultural, religious or linguistic community to enjoy their culture, practice their religion and use their language, and that all official languages, of which there were 11 up till last year, they added sign language, so there are 12 official languages in South Africa, and they must all enjoy parity of esteem and be treated equitably. So I think the reason I'm here in the lesson of the story is that no matter how long human rights may be denied, they can't be denied forever. People will always triumph in the end, and Mandela became a beacon to people across the world to not give up on their struggles for basic human rights. Through all kinds of hardships, justice can be won.
And next we would like to invite on the Labour MP for Central Leeds, MP Hilary Bean.
Well, good afternoon. And it is wonderful as the local Member of Parliament, and I'm so pleased to be accompanied by two of the local councillors. We're going to hear from Councillor Khan in a moment, and his colleague Kelly. Wonderful to welcome you all here to the Anglers Club, which is a magnificent institution, is it not? In our local community. I want to thank you, Lisa, for your very kind invitation to congratulate you on what ATAY has done in bringing people together. Look at the number of people who have turned out here this afternoon, because this is proof that communities of human beings, wherever they find themselves, in the land of their birth or the land where they have ended up. And you know, the story of human existence is one of movement across the earth in search, in many cases, of a better life, safety and security. But even when that happens, we take with us on that journey our culture, our language, our traditions, our history, our memories, our songs and our stories. And I was particularly keen to accept your kind invitation to come here today, because to be able to learn literally the tongue of your mother and your father is a very important basic right, because it is part of who we are. And I want to congratulate you for the work that you are doing to promote mother tongue teaching. The second thing I want to say is about the universality of human rights. And Amnesty International is a wonderful organisation because it speaks up for people who have no voice, for people who are being held in prison, people who are at risk of death, people who are being oppressed and denied their rights, and in some countries tortured. And they do an extraordinary job, and I want to thank them for that. And the story we've just heard from Francis is such a powerful one about the triumph of the human spirit. One of my memories in Leeds that I will take with me to my dying day is that extraordinary morning when Millennium Square was filled. It was a rather grey day. I think it may have been a Monday morning. And the square was absolutely packed. And the reason the square was absolutely packed was because that was the day that Nelson Mandela came to Leeds to receive the freedom of the city. And I was fortunate enough to be in the council chamber, and the door opened and in came the mayor and the mace bearer, and there was Nelson Mandela. And the woman who was sitting in front of me just burst into tears, because she and the thousands of people in the square had come to watch living history. He was a remarkable individual, and he showed what can be achieved if you are determined to campaign for freedom, equality and fairness. And when he became the president, he realised that his responsibility was to reach out to those who had oppressed him previously and to embrace them. He showed extraordinary forgiveness and magnanimity. He didn't triumph and say, right, now I'm going to do to you what you did to me. He said, we are all South Africans in the new South Africa. You are all welcome. You all have your place. You are all valued. And when we look around the world at the conflicts that affect so many parts of it, in the end, if conflict conflict is to be brought to an end, it has to be on the basis of dialogue, discussion, politics, and compromise. And I am recently, in the autumn of last year, became the Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. And those of you who may know the history of Northern Ireland, there was a terrible conflict there that claimed nearly 3,500 lives. It went on for about 30 years. And when I was young, people would have said it'll still be going on in 100, 200, 300 years' time. But we lived to see the day when it came to an end. And what brought it to an end was a willingness on the part of the leaders to the conflict to stop saying, I am the victim and you are my oppressor. And you go around the table and the person is saying, no, no, no, I'm the victim and you are my oppressor. They realised that they would have to put that to one side, come together and say, stretch out the hand of friendship and say, we need to work together in the interest of the people, of the land that we share, the people that we represent. And they brought peace to Northern Ireland. And it is a most remarkable story. And we have had our share of conflict and warfare going back over 1,000 years. And in the end, that is how conflict can be resolved if there is the political will to do so. And so I think the message of today is, even when times are difficult and times are hard, a better future beckons if we are determined, if we do not give up in the struggle and in the campaign, if we work with others, if we are committed to the rights of all people. And, you know, human rights is the last thing I want to say. There are some people in Britain who say human rights, what a terrible thing, we should get rid of the protections that we have. The European Convention on Human Rights, the Human Rights Act, which was passed into law by the previous Labour government. And all I want to say about that, when I was listening to Francis reading out what the Declaration had to say about the rights of people, it brought the Human Rights Act to my mind, because that piece of legislation, that convention, and the rules that surround it are there to protect the rights of every single one of us here in this room today, and all of the people in this great city of Leeds, because it is a means by which we can ensure that people are respected, are treated fairly, do have an opportunity to love who they wish, to live where they wish, to work in the way that they wish, to speak the language that they wish. And I want to wish all of you every success as you carry on with your important work over the months and the years ahead. Thank you very much.
I think it's important to remember in times like this that mother tongue and mother language, they kind of go hand in hand with culture. It's important to embrace not only your own culture but other cultures. The world would be an infinitely better place if everyone embraced everyone's culture. And in that vein, we would like to embrace some Azerbaijani culture now. What we would like to do is invite Jayla Seyidova onto stage to play the violin, Azerbaijani music. Thank you. As MP Hillary being mentioned earlier, we do have another guest from the council, so up next we would like to invite Leeds City Councillor Askar Khan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? That's better. Salam. It's not good enough. You're in my ward, our ward, Bermatoffs and Richmond Hill ward. The people of Bermatoffs and Richmond Hill ward need to hear that you are celebrating the International Mother's Tongue Language Day here. Salam. Salam. Thank you. As Right Honourable Hilary Ben said, my name is Councillor Askar Khan, and a former Lord Mayor of the second biggest local authority, the wonderful city of Leeds, Councillor Khan. And I am delighted to be here this afternoon to join you on your special occasion. And it's lovely to see so many of you here this afternoon for this special occasion. And can I ask all of you, please join me, give them a huge round of applause for organising this wonderful event. I'm proud to be British, and I'm proud to be speaking two languages, Kashmiri, Pakistani and English. And when I came this afternoon to this event, and I was thinking, what do I need to say? I just wanted to give you one message, is Leeds is a multicultural city. It's a diverse city. It's a city that welcomes people. It's a city of a sanctuary. It's a multicultural city. And it's a thriving city, it's a vibrant city, because people, we have so much diversity in this city, and your contribution to our city is making that difference, in the economy. And last year was the Leeds 2023 Cultural City of Leeds, where we brought all different communities together to celebrate different cultures and learn, as the Right Honourable Hilary Ben said, we want to learn different cultures, different languages. And back in 2011, when I was elected in this ward, and when I got elected and met so many different communities, in this area where we are sat today, there are over 79 different communities who live here, speak different languages, come together. And it's lovely to see Mr. Ali from the Leeds Refugees Forum, who does a fantastic work bringing different communities, learning them to adapt to our cultural English, and give him a huge round of applause as well. I want to share a story with yourself as well, as Frances shared her story early on. I came to Leeds as an 11-year-old boy, a very nervous young boy who could not speak a word of English. And as you know, in Kashmir, Azerbaijan, Turkish, we've got houses scattered, and when I came here, what did I see? Rows of terraced properties. For 1 week, I never left the house because all the houses looked exactly the same. And I thought to myself, if I leave the house, and if I get lost, I will ask, where's my house? But we imagine, through education, through hard work, determination, that nervous young boy will become the first citizen of this second biggest local authority as the Lord Mayor. And that comes through determination, hard work, education, and Leeds is a city where there's lots of opportunities for everyone. And that comes through education. And that comes through different education and, and working together And with those words, I just want to also welcome my colleague, Councillor Necker. She's here in this ward as well. And I wish you all the best, and you have a lovely afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
I'd like to second what Oscar said there. Growing up in the area, I'm from Leeds, I grew up in Bradford. It was great to be involved in so many different communities. My best friends growing up were from Pakistan, but through the streets you'd hear Hindi, Urdu, Polish, Latvian, Lithuanian, loads of different languages, and the sounds of the different cultures coming together was absolutely beautiful. Next, we would like to invite someone who's very dear to the Azerbaijani community, Dr. Ali Tekin Atalay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Distinguished guests, the Ruben and the Councillor, and I thank ISA and the ATAY organization for organizing this wonderful event, which is very important for the Turkish community wherever they live in the world, because the language is dear to us, I'm sure, as it is for every nationality in the world. I very briefly want to just talk about the Turkish language, which is the most people here today trying to celebrate their mother tongue. And I'll be very brief, just to put in the context of the history of the Turkish language. I believe it's one of the oldest languages in the world, and the proof of that, in the 8th century, in the Central Asia, in Mongolia, scripts discovered etched on a stone by a Russian scientist called Okon scripts, which is between 8th and 10th century is inscribed onto the stone, which has survived all these centuries. And it was actually deciphered by the Russian scientist Vasily in 1889. And the first time we come across the evidence of Turkic, which was written on those scripts. And like mentioned before, the cultures and languages evolve and then decay and then disappear. And the same thing almost happened to the Turkish language. And the glory times of the Turkish language was when the Attila the Hun was ruling in Hungary, all the way from Chinese border through Europe, through Russia, right up to the Budapest. And if anyone visits the Budapest, you will see that a lot of signs of Turkic names. In fact, Budapest made from two words, Buddha and Pest, either side of the river, which is Buddha was the brother of the Attila the Hun. And obviously when the Han Empire dissolved and then the Turkic signs of the Turkic rule was quite a lot disappeared. Anyway, there are three important milestones in the Turkish language. First one was, as I said, it's been the glory times, was spoken from central Mongolia in the eastern Turkestan, which is now Xinjiang region of China, all the way up to the Bulgaria, Hungary, Moldova, almost 2,000 to 5,000 miles span. And unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, that's wrong, but with the Islamization of the Turkic nation, Turks started speaking Arabic, and that was the decline of the Turkish spoken in the Turkic world. And it got worse when the two Turkic nations at war each other. One was the Safavids in Iran, and that was in 1540, and Selim I of the Ottoman Empire. Selim I won the war called Chalderan in northern Iran now. He won the war, and then he went after to become the Caliph of the Islamic world. After that, almost Turkey completely forgotten, and whole of Ottoman Empire until 1920s, when Atatürk started the Turkish Republic, was speaking 80% Arabic and 20% Persian. So if you were speaking Turkic, original Turkish in Turkey or in Istanbul or anywhere in Ottoman Empire, you just wouldn't understand. Nobody would understand. So the third is the revival of Turkish language. In 1980, I think 92 years ago, 1932, Atatürk started an organization called the Turkish Türk Dil Kurumu. I can't translate it completely, but it was a Turkish language academic organization to revive the Turkish language. So they went all the old Turkic areas of the Central Asia, Western Russia, Yakutsk, Bashkortostan, Gagavuzia, unbelievable length to collect the original Turkic names, Turkic words and Turkic sentences. And after 1932, Turkish language was spoken as it was before. So that's the little history of what happened to Turkish language. I'm sorry it was a bit long, but anyway, I thank Isa and the ATAY for organizing this wonderful event, and I congratulate everybody's Mother Tongue Day. Thank you very much.
I think, as Dr. Atalay said, it's important to know where your language comes from, to know its history, and to pass it on to next generation. Every language has got its own history, and it's important to know it, to explain it to your future generation, and explain how important it is to know it and pass it on to their children. Next, I would like to invite dear Neil Watson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Neil Watson. I've been working with Azerbaijan for the past 16 years. And first of all, can I congratulate Isa and all those at ATAY for organising today's great event. So, Right Honourable Member, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honour to speak to you on the occasion of International Mother Tongue Day. As we all know, language is far more than a mere mode of communication. It is the signifier of history and emblematic of identity. To be apprehensive of speaking one's mother tongue for fear of reprisal is an undeniable hallmark of repression. But that is what we are seeing in South Azerbaijan, where the mullahs of the so-called Islamic Republic of Iran are against the estimated 30 to 40 million Azerbaijanis speaking or being taught in their own language. In fact, this shameful situation has only lasted just over a century. The elimination of ethnic discrimination was one of the main socio-political issues in Iran following the collapse of the Azer-Turk dynasty by a coup d'etat. Thereafter, Azerbaijanis played a fundamental role in the development of the constitutional revolution in 1906. Iran was then called Mamleket Maruz-e Iran, which effectively means the United States of Iran. There were four minor provinces, of which Azerbaijan was the most important. So it could be said that Iran was then recognised as a multi-state country ruled by a form of federal system. Each province had their own parliament comprising 12 MPs, who also represented the provinces in the national parliament headquartered in Tehran. However, the multi-nation state system was transformed into a Persian nation state when military officer Reza Khan Pahlavi seized power by coup d'etat in 1921. Forcing the parliament to end the Qajar dynasty permanently and establishing the Pahlavi dynasty. The Pahlavi dynasty was undeniably based on Persian nationalistic ideology, falsely indicating that Iran was a mononational, monolinguistic country. Since Pahlavi's Iran shifted from being a multi-nation state to a Persian nation state, there were many uprisings in other provinces, including Azerbaijan, Arabistan and Gilan, all of which were brutally repressed by Reza Khan Pahlavi. As part of this, education and newspapers in the mother tongue were banned. Persian racism increased, and anti-Turkic and anti-Arabic propaganda became a main governmental policy under the Iranian so-called Islamic Republic after 1979. It is acknowledged that ethnic discrimination has caused most civil wars and conflicts in the world, and today we are commemorating 21st of February as International Mother Tongue Day, recognising that banning the Bangladeshi people's mother tongue of Bengali by Urdu-speaking Pakistan led them to be independent. Unfortunately, for more than a century, the ethnic discrimination policy of the Iranian government has polarised the multi-ethnic and religious society of Iran. As you've heard, many Turkic civil activists were arrested by the Iranian regime because they defended their ethnic identity and mother tongue. That is unbelievable for many of us living in the multi-ethnic UK, but unfortunately that is the reality. Today we remember the struggles of all peoples whose ethnicity and language have been subjugated, and ask them to remain steadfast in their attempts to achieve their objectives. And this event is part of that today. Thank you very much indeed.
Language, with its deep historical roots, binds us together and reflects the essence of our shared heritage. It's not merely a means of communication, it's a vessel carrying those stories of our past and the expression of our present and aspiration for our future. Next, we would like to invite Azerbaijani musician Babek Bakhtavar.
Şirin dil, şirin dil, güzel dilim şirin dil. Şirin dil, şirin dil, ana dilim şirin dil. Hem tabip dil hem merhem, el derdim şirin dil. Hem tabip dil hem merhem, ana dilim şirin dil. Hem tabip dil hem merhem, ana dilim şirin dil. Hem tabip dil hem merhem, ana dilim şirin dil. Şirin dil, şirin dil, ana dilim şirin dil. Şirin dil, şirin dil, ana dilim şirin dil. Hem tabip dil hem merhem, şirin sohbet şirin dil. Hem tabip dil hem merhem, şirin sohbet şirin dil. Şirin düşer, zülfüze şirin düşer. Şirin düşer, zülfize şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Şirin kimi, şirin kimi, güzel sev şirin kimi. Şirin kimi, şirin kimi, güzel sev şirin kimi. Seven gençler isterem, Ferhat'la şirin kimi. Seven gençler isterem, Ferhat'la şirin kimi. Seven gençler isterem, Ferhat'la şirin kimi. Seven gençler isterem, Ferhat'la şirin kimi. Şirin düşer, zülfüze şirin düşer. Aman aman aman, Azerbaycan benim dilim, Azerbaycan benim dilim. Doğransam da dilim dilim, ana dilim ölen değil. Başka dile dönen değil, aman aman aman. Şirin düşer, zülfüze şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Ferhakaya çarpanda, yadına şirin düşer. Bahçalardan arım var, bir ayla bir narım var. Bahçalardan arım var, bir ayla bir narım var. Gelen kaşlara gözü, gül bakışlı yakın var. Gelen kaşlara gözü, hoş bakışlı yarın var. Gel kara göz, gel gel kara göz, yüreğimde yara göz. Yine derde kara göz, gel kara göz. Gel gel gel kara göz, yüreğimde yara göz. Yine derde kara göz, gel kara göz. Azerbaycan güldür, eller onu severler. Gülüm gel kara gül, gel gel kara gül, nezerde kara gül, nezerde kara gül, gel kara gül, gel gel gel kara gül, gel gel kara gül, nezerde kara gül, gel kara gül. Thanks for having me on this. Sorry, I got a problem with the sound. I left it there and something was going wrong. So, sorry for any inconvenience. I was asked to have a word about International Mother Tongue Day, and I wanted to mention some points regarding racism and ethnic discrimination in Iran. But honestly, Neil Watson, thanks him. He had a good speech, and honestly, he said whatever I wanted to say, basically. So, and I thought, so we celebrating International Mother Tongue Day, and I am Azerbaijani, Iran, Azerbaijani, Turkic. So, for the respect of my own language, mother tongue, I want to have a couple of words in Azerbaijani. Türkçe'de danışmak istiyorum. Sorry. Ben ana dili bir milletin temel varlığıdır. Bizi kimliğimizle dünyada gittiğimiz zaman pasportumuz dilimizdir. Türkçemizdir, Azerbaycan Türkçemizdir. Şükürler olsun ki bugün Kuzey Azerbaycan öz müstəqilliyini əldə edibdir və bir dövlət, millət olaraq bu dili yaşadırır. Eşq olsun. Və biz bunu Azərbaycanlı olaraq istər dünyanın hər yerində olsun, İranda və dünyanın hər bir yerində bunu çox sevinilir. Lakin Azərbaycanın beşiği, göbəyi, varlığı Cənubi Azərbaycandır. Orada olan Təbriz şəhəridir. Bizi yaşadan tarixən Azərbaycanı ölkə kimi dünyada göstərən qoca Təbrizdir. Onun baş kəndiri ilə olubdur. İstər səfərlər olur, istər ondan öncə, ya sonrası. Təəssüflə Neil Watson söylədiyi kimi Qacarlar dövründə bir neçə milliyyətli ölkə, onun içində yaşayan Ərəb, Kürd, Azərbaycanlı, Türk, iyalətlər olan ölkə, bir məşrutiyyət üçün qan verən Azərbaycan, onda öldürsöndası Pəhləvilərin iş üstə gəlməsi ilə bir dənə single nation state, Persian nation state oldu. Və buradan istəyirəm deyəm ki, İran Fars deyil. İran əslində Türk ölkəsidir. 100 ilin içindədir ki, bir dənə Fars nation state, dövlət millətçiliyi bunu ignor edibdir, bütün haqları tapdalayıbdır. Mən istərdim bu günləri burada aslında yürüyüş verən bəllər, İbrahim Savalan kimi bizim zindanilərimiz, Amnesty International buradaydı. Ona reportları verildi və yəqin ki, onlar bunları nəzərə alacaqlar. 30-40 da Azərbaycan faalı bu günlərin zindanlarla sadəcə bu dili qutlamaq üçün, öz dillərində, öz etniklərini demək üçün İranda zindane olublar. Odur ki, biz bunu qədrini bilməliyik, biz də onun üçün çalışmalıyıq və sözümü də burada zindanlərimizin yadını qeyd eləməklə bitirirəm. Bir dənə onlar üçün mahnı hazırlamışdım, onu oxuyacağım və sizdən də sağollaşacaq. Sağ olun. Çalanda sazım, sinədə qəm gecələm. Çalanda sazım, sinədə qəm gecələm. geceler. Ben o kara gözlerin altını gözleyirem geceler. Volkanlar coştu, tükesin isyanlar. Volkanlar coştu, tükesin isyanlar. Al güneşe elimin feryadını gözleyirem geceler. Al güneşe elimin feryadını gözleyirem geceler.
So next we would like to invite special guest, Harmony Choir.
community choir. We welcome everybody, whether they've sung before or never sung before. And singing is a wonderful way of bringing people together from different backgrounds, cultures, enjoying life together. In fact, it was through singing that I met Isa and Gulnaz and was introduced to the issues of the Azerbaijani people. And we sing songs from different cultures and we sing what we enjoy. That one was from southern Congo. We sing it, it's a kind of a nonsense song, but we sing it just because it gives us joy.
Is from Kenya. Some time back, because Kenya is a touristic country, we had many people from different countries coming to visit the country and they didn't know how to communicate, even the simple words. So the government tasked one of the local bands to compose a song so that the tourists would be able to interact with the locals. The song is called Hakuna Matata, that means no problem. So how you greet somebody in Kenya, you say jambo, and they answer back jambo. Habari, you say mzuri. So hakuna matata. Welcome. I hope you'll join us as we sing along.
Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Nyote mwakaribishwa huku kwetu, hakuna matata. Kwetu ni kusuri, hakuna matata. Kwetu kunapendeza, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna furaha, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna amani, hakuna matata. Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Nyote mwakaribishwa huku kwetu, hakuna matata. Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Nyote mwakaribishwa huku kwetu, hakuna matata. Kwetu ni kusuri, hakuna matata. Kwetu kunapendeza, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna furaha, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna amani, hakuna matata. Mwakaribishwa, hakuna matata. Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Nyote mwakaribishwa huku kwetu, hakuna matata. Ni kusuri, hakuna matata. Tunapendeza, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna furaha, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna amani, hakuna matata. Wote mwakaribishwa, hakuna matata. Ni kusuri, hakuna matata. Kwetu tunapendeza, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna furaha, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna amani, hakuna matata. Ni kusuri, hakuna matata. Kwetu tunapendeza, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna furaha, hakuna matata. Kwetu kuna amani, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata, hakuna matata.
So, thank you. A special big hand for Hannah, whose native language is Spanish and who was doing perfect Swahili. And to Isabella, who has tutored us well. This is another one for you to join in. The words are, and it's a sort of inspiring song if you don't feel like keeping going. You've got to put one foot in front of the other. This is your turn. You've got to put one foot in front. This is your turn. You've got to put one foot in front of the. You've got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. So I expect to hear you singing along. is a beautiful song which we love because it's about that question of where is home. Because for many of us who might have travelled around and left homes and established new homes, where is home?
There we go. A big thank you there to the Harmony Choir. Next, we would like to invite up Rachel Loftus, the Head of Regional Health Partnerships at Leeds City Council.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Loftus in English. It's Misha Rehola Lochnan in Irish. That's my mother tongue. To tell you a bit more about why I was asked to speak here today is I am the chair of Leeds Irish Health and Homes, which is an Irish community group here in Leeds. And it was basically, I think, a few words from Isa, from my diaspora community to yours, about how we keep alive our traditions. So for over 800 years, Ireland was occupied by the British and the Irish language was banned. My parents grew up at a time when it was still illegal to have learned Irish. And I could tell you two stories. One, I could tell you about an occupation where people's languages were banned, their cultures were banned, our traditions were banned. Or I could tell you another story of hope, which is that those traditions live on, that language lives on in the people. In the way that we gather, we tell our stories, we tell our songs. We tell about the ways that we resisted. I was really a favourite of mine, which is my uncle and my family are farmers. And they always talk to the cattle in Irish, in the Irish language. And I once said to my uncle, why do you do that? And he said, when his father was growing up and his father was growing up, that's how they taught each other the language. And if the soldiers came along and said, you're speaking Irish, they would say, the cattle don't know how to learn English. And that is how they taught each other to say. The Irish language, there's about 5 million people who live on the island of Ireland, about 20 million of us worldwide, and less than probably 5% of people speak Irish as their first language anymore. But that's in common with about half of the people of the world. About half of the people in this world are bilingual, some by choice, most not by choice. And linguists the world over divide language into two types of language, into parole and langue. And langue is the words, and it's how you form thought in your head. It's the patterns and the shapes of language that are given to you from your mother and from your mother's mother. And that language is language that can never be undone because it shapes even the way that you speak another language. So like many diaspora communities, I'm sure you worry that your children and your grandchildren are growing up speaking English, but they are surrounded by the sounds, the music, the way that you speak to each other. All of that is going into their brain and shaping the patterns of the way they think, not just the words that they use. And that be able to function in another language is administration. That's the brain, but mother language, long is the heart. And that's something that we all share in common as diaspora communities. And believe it or not, many of you already speak the Irish language because we went to so many places. Many of you might know the phrase, do you dig it? That comes from when the indentured Irish slaves were working in the Caribbean next to the African enslaved people. They would say in Irish to them, dig on too, do you understand? And the African slaves started to hear this dig on too, and they just said, do you dig it? Do you dig it? And that's the way language has survived. In Irish we say slán, slán lá for meaning farewell. That came into English to mean so long. Many of you might watch Coronation Street and you'd hear people say "Tara Chuck." That comes from the Irish, from the famine, when people came to Manchester and would say "Tarara." Tarara meaning take care. And it survives today. So language always survives. The oppressors should know this. The biggest and first language you should know from oppression is it never works. It doesn't matter how you try, the roots of language will always survive. There's a great phrase in the women's movement that is, they tried to bury us, but they forgot that we're seeds. And that's language. That's language. So every time you speak your language, every time you share your language, every time you bring your children to hear music, to hear voice, that is mother tongue. And mother tongue is with us whether we survive oppression or not. And I think that's the biggest story I can tell you is it's one of hope. And the diaspora community of Ireland here in Leeds, you're welcome to come and share with us. St Patrick's Day is traditionally celebrated on the 17th of March. And that comes from the fact that even the colour green was banned for a time in Ireland. The wearing of the green is something we still do as a proud way of keeping our heritage and culture alive. So if you'd like to come and join us on the 17th of March, come and join our diaspora. You're very welcome. You will hear our songs, you will hear our words, and you will definitely hear our language. So thank you very much for having me. Good luck.
Thank you, Rachel. Next, we would like to invite Yusuf Azizi Benitaroff, a Wazi Arab writer and political activist.
I thank my Azerbaijani friends for inviting me. For more than 4 centuries, the official term of the protected kingdoms, Mamalik Bahruse, indicated the ruling political administrative system from the Safavid period to the Qajar period, 1501 to 1925. The number of kingdoms in the Qajar state was 6: Arabistan, Lorestan, Kurdistan, Azerbaijan, Gilan, and Khorasan. These 6 kingdoms, which included different nationalities, enjoyed autonomy, especially Arabistan, Al-Ahwaz, which until 1925 was semi-independent. If a democratic process were to take place in Iran, like in the UK, could be the basis for, like in the UK, which includes 4 countries and 4 nations, these 6 kingdoms could be the basis for 6 countries. Currently, in addition to these 6 nations, Arab, Lur, Kurd, Turk, Gilak and Persian, 2 other nations also live in Iran, Baluchi and Turkmen. In 1925, Reza Shah Pahlavi, as a military person, came to power in Iran through a coup d'etat. He changed the multinational, multi-country administrative and the country administrative system and replaced it with provinces under the slogan of Iran one nation, one country, Iran one nation, one country, one language, and suppressed non-Persian languages and cultures. After the overthrow of Sheikh Khazar, the last Arab ruler of Arabistan, by Persian occupying forces in 1925, the Pahlavi regime changed the name of Arabistan to Khuzestan and closed many modern schools in Muhammad and Ahwaz that taught in Arabic language and established Persian schools instead. The regime also banned the use of Arabic language for official purposes and imposed the despotic and chauvinistic Persian nation-state on all the nations of Iran. Islamic rulers continued the same combination of monolingual, monocultural nation-state through a combination of soft and tough methods like insult, humiliation, prison, execution, and torture, which contradicted to the human rights and cultural laws of the United Nations. About 2/3 of Iran's population who are not Persian are still deprived of many their rights, such as education in their mother tongue in schools. The purpose of establishing the Persian nation-state in Iran has been to adjust the borders of the Persian language to match the political borders of the country. That is, to force everyone to become Persian. The rulers of Iran, in this case, have both committed genocide and oppressed and humiliated nations. In addition to being deprived of education in their mother tongue, the Arab people in Iran have been facing severe suppression of their culture for the past century. In 2014, two poets named Hashim Shabani and Hadi Rashidi were executed just because of their cultural activities. Dozens of Arab poets were killed by poisoning or artificial accidents. The most prominent of whom are Sattar Sayahi and Hassan Haidari. Everything must be in Persian, from the signboard of shops, streets, and roads to the defense of Arab defendants in the courts. Even worse, the regime replaces existing place names with the names of rulers, poets, and non-native Persian characters, sometimes including racist and anti-Arab references. The Islamic government is currently keeping hundreds of Ahwazi poets, intellectuals, and fighters in its prison in the worst conditions. By learning in the Persian language in schools, the Arab child falls behind the Persian child from the very beginning of the life race. And this linguistic disadvantage causes cultural backwardment, which in turn causes social and economic backwardness. Therefore, during the last 100 years, most economic and cultural development programs have failed, and Iran is lagging behind most other civilian countries. Ahwaz province, which supplies about 80% of Iran's oil and non-oil wealth, ranks 23rd among 31 provinces in the field of education. And this is due to the lack of education of the Arab people in their mother tongue, in addition to the destruction of the environment caused by fossil fuel industries, looting of oil and water, and other wealth of this province for the development of Tehran and other Central Persian provinces. This is not to mention the incompetence and the nationalist and racist views of the planners and ruling elites in the capital when it comes to governing non-Persian regions. And thank you.
Next, we would like to invite Erfan Bagheri, musician, composer and music teacher.
Salamlar, saygılar. Hello everyone. Bizim Türk'ün dili güldən zərifdir. Bütün dillər dal olsa bu əlifdir. Ədəbdə, elmidə, hər bir hünərdə siz Allah türklərə kimlər hərifdir. Eşq olsun sizə. Mən də öz növbəmdə bir aşıq kimi, bir Azərbaycanlı kimi bu təşkilatı yığana, burada hər kəs zəhmət çəkibdir. Ana dilinə görə fərq eləməz, buralı olursa olsun, Azərbaycanlı olur olsun, dünyanın hər nöqtəsindən olur olsun, ana dili, doğma dili, öz bunları çalışana eşq olsun. İsa müəllimdən dərin təşəkkürlü minnətdarlığını bildirirəm. Bu təşkilatı yığıbdır, bir qədər zəhmətlərə şamil olubdur. Mən də artıq çox vaxtınızı almıram, burada əzizlərimiz, ustalarımız əyləşiblər. Ancaq bir dənə sizə təsnif ilə, aşıq havası ilə sizin qulluğunuzda olacağım. Eşq olsun. yavşak oldular eydi. Ay nesli nesiymiş, ay nesli nesiymiş, size susmak ki yaraşmaz. Türk oğlu demez, ah dersin soysana eydi. Thank you, Erfan. Next, we'd like to invite up the founder of the Wall Through Children's Eyes Art, Namina Mamadova. Bear with us 1 second.
Azerbaijan's the language that they speak in Turkey in Iran, but the Turkish side is within Iran, it's get the recognition.
Hello, my name is Darmina. Thank you very much for inviting me. Sorry for delayed start of my speech. We've been trying to connect the presentation, the outcome of the project I've been working in for the last 2 years, so I could showcase children's artwork. I'm afraid due to some technical problems, we couldn't try the slide. So I think I will try straight away. Like we heard many interesting speeches here about national identity, about language, and about national identity. And with approaching of 32nd anniversary of the Hocalı genocide, and also considering that mother tongue is one of the criteria which define us based on our national identity. And I couldn't talk about those who perished during the Hocalı genocide, purely based on their national identity, because they were speaking Azerbaijani. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply honored to stand before you as a founder of War Through Children's Eyes Art and Writing Competition, which I dedicated to the memory of the Hocalı genocide, of all the children who fell victims to the Hocalı genocide. And I was fortunate enough to have found support and cooperation from UK charities such as War Child and Beyond Conflict, as well as Arabella Dorman, an internationally renowned portrait painter and war artist who was nominated in the BBC 100 Women list, along with numerous well-known and award-winning British writers and British artists. Growing up in a country plagued by war, I witnessed firsthand the devastating effect that war had on people. But it was the memory of the Hocalı genocide, the tragic event that took place in Azerbaijan on the night from 25th to 26th February 1992, that has shaken my world most. The horror of that night, which claimed the lives of so many, has stayed with me for all these years. The Hocalı genocide was organized by the political and state leadership of the Republic of Armenia, and was carried out by the Armenian armed forces, Armenian terrorist groups in Karabakh, and the former USR regiment deployed in Karabakh. As a result of crime against not only the people of Azerbaijan, but a crime against humanity, 613 civilian Azerbaijanis, including 63 children, 106 women, and 70 elders were brutally murdered on grounds of national identity. They were cut off from any route to escape and brutally slaughtered. The number of victims is much higher than the official figures, as only a portion of the bodies were retrieved by the Azerbaijani side back in the 90s. However, recent news reports that following the liberation of the Azerbaijani occupied territories, mass graves have been discovered in Hocalı containing additional bodies that have lain there for all these years, revealing the true extent of that horrific night. As a result of the procedural actions carried out until now, it has been concluded that the human remains were buried at least 25 years ago, and that one of the discovered bodies belonged to a 4 or 5 year child. This underscores the reality that numerous Azerbaijani civilians captured as prisoners during the First Karabakh War were not returned in prisoners' exchange programs, but instead endured years of captivity and torture. I hope the discovery of this mass grave will draw the attention of international organizations. We had here a speech of the member of Amnesty International, and I really hope that will draw attention of Amnesty International as well, prompting them to give proper consideration to the suffering of the Hocalı victims who have long awaited justice. In 2022, on the 30th anniversary of the Hocalı massacre, I had the privilege of interviewing Afsana, one of the victims of that very tragedy. She lost 46 extended family members on that night, and most importantly, she became a total orphan, losing her dad and mom. She lives with that pain every single day. Her story deeply touched me and ignited a desire within me to share her story and create a platform where children could step into the shoes of those who have suffered from wars, a platform that would foster empathy and understanding. That's when the idea struck me to organize an annual children's art and writing competition in the United Kingdom, shedding light on the plight of these children. To enable you to step into Afsana's shoes, I would like to share a brief passage from one of the participants in my competition, a 13-year-old girl. She wrote a story from the perspective of a girl who fell victim to the Royala genocide. Her entry was highly commended by our judges and is titled A Withering Harabulbul. Harabulbul is the indigenous flower of the Karabakh region. Here is her story. I pushed my head even deeper into my mother to block out the morbid side, trying to think about the happy times we'd had, all the ice cream eating in the park, all the giggling hiding from our dad, who was now somewhere in the pile beneath the mountain where the soldiers had scattered the seed of death, thinking about cycling through spring flowers in the town square of my mother town of Royala, of all the happy times as my body went limp, until the last moment, the happy times. Delicate, blush-tinted petals trembled in the wind, their plum-colored core facing the sky, delicate green stalks swaying mournfully, a withering Harabulbul, a slate-colored tombstone, no name, no age, no date of death, none of my memories attached to it, no reminder of the lives that was barbarically stripped from me, and many others, just a flower, marking where I lie, swaying in the wind. The competition became a beacon of hope, inviting young, creative minds to share their perspectives on war, to process their emotions, and to discover the transformative power of self-expression. This journey has been nothing but remarkable, and I'm humbled by the overwhelming support it has received from schools, parents, and most importantly from children who participated. In just a short span of time, this competition has blossomed with around 40 schools from across the UK enthusiastically participating. The response has been heartwarming, with over 500 entries submitted from schools and individuals' children. What truly touches my heart is the active involvement of well-known British children's writers who have graciously supported this cause by participating as judges or gifting their signed books to highly commended winners and advertising the competition to their young readers. In the first year of the competition back in 2022, this competition not only sparked creativity but also compassion. I raised approximately 2,000 British pounds for War Child, a UK registered charity dedicated to supporting children affected by military conflicts and wars worldwide. Building on this momentum, in 2023, I directed my efforts towards raising funds for another UK charity, Beyond Conflict, which provides mental health support, extending my reach and impact even further. This year marks another milestone, as I joined forces with Beyond Conflict, Ukrainian diaspora in the UK, and the esteemed British artist Arabella Dolman. Together we are organizing an exhibition, Child of War, in May 2024, dedicated to the memory of all children who have fallen victim to war. Selected entries from my competition will also be showcased, serving as poignant reminders of the human cost of conflict. But my vision extends beyond mere recognition. It's a call to action. With the forthcoming publication of book, which would be a collection of artwork and children's stories, I aim to not only raise awareness but also crucial funds. The proceeds will be divided between Beyond Conflict, a UK charity, and Red Heart, a charity based in Azerbaijan, amplifying the impact of these philanthropic endeavors. I urge each and every of you to support this cause, to lend your voices to those silenced by the ravages of war. Follow our social media channels for updates and opportunities to contribute. Together, let us empower more children to speak out and pave the way for a future free from the devastating effects of conflict. And I would like to conclude my speech with the words of children who participated in the competition. The first message is from a boy called Senum. He won third place among school entries in the 1270s age group in the 2023 edition. He wrote to me, "Dear Narmina, thank you so much for this opportunity to let children express themselves through their stories, to give us a voice. We often feel voiceless. Even if we speak, many children feel like adults don't listen. This truly means so much to me. And another one is from a 30-year-old boy, Leonardo, who won a highly commended artwork in our individual 12-17 age group artwork. He wrote to me, Dear Words Through Children's Eyes team, taking part in your contest was an amazing experience, and I'm genuinely thrilled about the highly commended award. The whole purpose behind this competition, especially remembering the Royala massacre and highlighting the struggles of children in conflict zones worldwide, really resonated with me. It's a cause I deeply care, and I'm proud to have played a role in raising awareness. Please join me in applauding all those children who found a courage to step into the shoes of other children who fell victims to war. As members of the British Azerbaijani community, it's our duty to keep the memory of Royala children alive, to give them voices. I would like to thank all people who have supported this endeavor, and I hope more people will continue to champion the cause of peace through the eyes of most precious treasures we have, our children. And as Nelson Mandela said, the history will judge us by the difference we do in everyday life of children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Narmina. Next, we would like to invite on two very esteemed musicians. The tar will be played by Rafi Rustamli, and the Nagara and Garmin by Badak Kafkazi.
Çox hörmətli, dəyərli qonaqlar, bugünkü tədbir münasibəti ilə beynəlxalq ana dili günü münasibəti ilə hər birinizi mən təbrik edirəm. Xüsusilə bu günləri İsa bəyə çox böyük təşəkkürümü bildirirəm ki, əziyyət çəkib bu işin yolunda bu insanlar bura toplayıb, bugünkü tədbiri bu qaydada təşkil edibdir. Mən də bu günləri bir Azərbaycanlı kimi, bir Qarabağlı kimi bugün dünya beynəlxalq ana dili olduğu üçün aniyə ittihaf olunmuş bir ana musiqisi səsləndirəcəm sizin üçün. Buyurub dinləyə bilərsiniz. Qismət olsa, üzürü sayın.
Amazing. Next, we have two extra special guests, although I am slightly biased on this. So, up first, while we prepare for Elizabeth Amiral-Moody's dance, I'd like to invite Esker Amiral-Moody, my son, to read a poem for you all.
Bil ki sen benimsen, yudum yuvam meskenimsen, anam doğma vatanimsen, aralarımı künül candan, Azerbaycan, Azerbaycan. Ne bir şarkısın bir yana, odur ki bağlayam sana, hangi semte, hangi yana, hey şanda yuvam sensen, elim günüm obam sensen. Çok geçmişim bu dağlardan, dırna gözlüm bulaklardan, işitmişim uzaklardan. Saçit ahan arazları, sınamışam dostluk yarı.
Thank you, Esker. Next up is Elizabeth Amiral-Moody, supported by my musician from earlier. microphone at this level now because we have another special little guest, a poem from Hanem. Can we get some support for Hanem, please? I think you'll all be able to accept it takes massive guts to just get up. So round of applause for Hanem. For those that are left, we'd like to thank you for attending. I think it's been an incredible celebration of language and culture. And yeah, safe trips home. Thank you so much. Special thank you to ATAY for organising and the ATAY organisation.
Çok teşekkür ederim her təşkilinizdən. Bura beraber yığışdıq. Bu bize nişan verdi ki, birlikte biz çok işleri bacarabilecek qabiliyyətə sahib. Benim bir tane Azerbaycan'ın küçük evladı olarak siz büyük kardeşlerimin, bacılarımdan xahişim budur ki, lütfen birliğimizi gücləndirək, birlikte yürüməyi biz həmişə bacarmışıq. Niye ki birlikte biz yürüsək, bizim her zaman güçlü olduğumuzu ve güclü işler gördüğümüzü nişan verir. Ben her təşkilinizdən ki, ben Azerbaycan küçük evladına güvendiniz, geldiniz, yığışdıq, gözəl Azerbaycan'ı temsil ettiniz. Teşekkür ederim. İnşallah gelecek günlere göre, güzel uğurlara göre hamınıza can sağlığı arz eder. Buralı biraz terk eləyəcək 5'dən, ona göre xahiş edirəm müsafiət edən dostlarımız